Aloha everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I do unboxings here, mostly lifestyle subscription boxes, but also some stationery, books, beauty, jewelry, and even a dash of Disney. So if you like unboxings, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell. And if you're already subscribed, thanks so much for being here and welcome back. Today I've got one of our favorite book subscriptions to share with you. It is the Once Upon a Book Club June Adult Selection. So Once Upon a Book Club also has young adult selections. You can go back and forth between the two if you like. So far I haven't tried any of their young adult books, but one of these days I'll get around to it. So Once Upon a Book Club, if you haven't heard about it before, is a very unique subscription because they try to bring every story to life. So as you're reading along in the book, you'll get to a page where there'll be a little sticky note that will tell you to open a corresponding gift. And it really does bring the story to life. It's always really fun. Now you usually get like 3 to 5 items. Recently they did a little poll over in Facebook because sometimes the items would be what I would call a paper gift. So it'd be like a drawing or like a letter that appeared in the novel. And for me, those just weren't that functional. They weren't necessarily things that I would hold on to. And it looks like they've actually listened to everyone's feedback because in this particular box, there were no paper gifts. We actually got like 4 tangible, useful items. So I was very happy to see that. They also always include a quote card, and it was pretty unanimous over in the Facebook group that we did still like the quote card, so I'll share that with you once we get into the book. Once Upon a Book Club is $34.99 per month plus $10 in shipping. If you're interested in giving it a try, I have 2 ways for you to save money. You can either use my code, which is just mauinoel10, which will save you 10%, or you can use the link that will be in the description below, and that will save you $5. So make sure that it makes sense for you, but good way to save a little bit of money and give this unique subscription box a try. They don't tell you exactly what book is going to be in the next month, but they do kind of give you some hints. So I was intrigued by the hints that I got about this month, and it did not disappoint. So far, the last few boxes that I've gotten from Once Upon a Book Club have been very good, quick reads, totally different like styles and topics, but I've enjoyed every single one of them, and most of them I've gotten through in just a couple of days. And of course it does help to have those little gifts along the way to kind of inspire you to get through that next chapter. Now they did have some shipping delays for the June box. I think it didn't actually come until the beginning of this month, but they did give us a little extra gift, which I thought was a sweet touch. They gave us this little print that's just got a woman reading, and it says, "Shh, I'm reading." Now this isn't necessarily the kind of thing that I would frame, but I do appreciate them acknowledging the delay and doing something nice for their readers. And I will say this is actually a book club, so they also include a pamphlet that tells you ways to have discussions or even interact with the author, which is really a nice touch. I personally haven't ever had a chance to get in on any of those discussions. It's just never like made its way onto my appointment calendar, but one of these days I will definitely do that. And then a lot of the times lately we've been getting a little letter from the author, which is so nice. So I thought I would just read that letter from the author. It says, "Dear reader, I'm delighted to have my book in the Once Upon a Book Club box. I will admit straight up that my first inspiration for this story was the penguins themselves. What an example penguins are to us all. These little guys experience the harshest conditions on the planet, and yet they take on every challenge with courage, cheer, and gusto. I have tried to capture something of their spirit and how the penguins saved Veronica. Whenever I feel low, I turn to books, and I know that reading can often help us through difficult times. Perhaps that's why I felt compelled to write Veronica's story. This is a book about survival, about determination, about defying the odds. It is about hope, and it is about salvation through penguins." I won't read you the rest of it just because it's a little bit lengthy, but I was intrigued because I knew that the novel had to do with penguins, and I love penguins. I think they are adorable creatures. And the letter told you the name of the novel, and it is got cute little cover art as well. We've got the little penguins coming up to Veronica's handbag, and then I'll just read you the little blurb on the back. So I won't like try to spoil the book for you just in case you do decide to pick up this box or the book itself. But when we get into it, I will read the excerpts that go along with the gifts, and it will be a spoiler for the gifts. So in case you think you might get this box or you already have it and you just haven't gotten through the book yet, don't watch any more quite yet. All right, so on the back it says, a curmudgeonly but charming old woman, her estranged grandson, and a colony of penguins prove it's never too late to be the person you want to be in this rich, heartwarming story from the acclaimed author of Ellie and the Heartmaker. And the author is Hazel Pryor. So it says, 85-year-old Veronica McCready is estranged from her family and wants to find a worthwhile cause to leave her fortune to. When she sees a documentary about penguins being studied in Antarctica, she tells the scientist she's coming to visit and won't take no for an answer. Shortly after arriving, she convinces the reluctant team to rescue an orphaned baby penguin. He becomes part of life at the base, and Veronica's closed heart starts to open. Her grandson, Patrick, follows Veronica to Antarctica to make one last attempt to get to know his grandmother. Together, Veronica, Patrick, and even the scientists learn what family, love, and connection are all about. It is a very, very sweet story. I will say some of it was like a little bit predictable, but again, it was something that was very heartwarming and adorable, and I loved sort of the format. It was written in 2 points of view, as well as little excerpts from one of the scientists who has a blog about the penguins, so that you could really kind of feel all the metaphors. Some of the book was told through a diary that the grandson Patrick gets to read his grandmother's diary, so some of it's told in the past, and you kind of unravel the onion that is Veronica and get to learn all about her past and why she is the way that she is. And it was a really, really sweet story, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So let's get through and see what those gifts were. I do absolutely love when sometimes one of the gifts appears in the first few pages. It just gives you that added inspiration to get through those first few pages. And then in this case, and actually in the last box as well, it was like then the last gift was not until like almost the last page, and it was like driving me crazy, but it did help me have that extra bit of energy to stay up really late one night just to get through the book. All right, so let me find it. So Veronica lives in Scotland before she decides to go to Antarctica to see the penguins. And she takes a little like walk after a meal and says, it's no easy task wielding cane, tongs, sack, and handbag, especially in this wind. My bones are beginning to complain at the effort of it all. I work out a way of angling my weight to lean into each gust so that it supports me instead of fighting me. So she likes to go out, and one of the things that her father taught her was to try to make the world a little bit better. And one of the ways that she does that is by taking a little bag and her tongs out with her when she goes on her walks to pick up rubbish, which I think is so cute and such a sweet thing to do. I love that like David Sedaris is like known for doing that as well, as like going out in his neighborhood and like picking up trash. So that was page 9, and then we have the corresponding gift. It was like quite the like Tetris effort, I think, to get everything into this particular box. It kind of came like in a wobbly shape because they had to get these giant tongs and the book and all the other gifts in there. So let me open it up. I tried to open it up this way and I forgot that it totally opens from the end. All right, so I've been super excited to do this unboxing for you guys because I'm excited to use this gift. So, not surprisingly, it's Veronica's tongs, which are great. And not only that, but it was also her little like rubbish bag. So we got like this little, first of all, it's got a little quote card on it. It says, be the change that you wish to see in the world, which we know is from Gandhi. And then it's got this like little roll of like baggies that you can use to go out there and pick up some trash. Now, I'm not going to use these tongs to pick up trash. Maybe I'll use like a rubber glove if that's what I actually use those bags for, because they're really nice. So these are great quality. I love the teal color, even though that totally doesn't go with my kitchen. My kitchen's like red and black for the most part, but they're really good quality tongs. I think they're super sweet. They've got that like locking mechanism, so it opens them back up. And I actually like could use a new pair of tongs, so I was super happy to have these. So again, it does have a little like Once Upon a Book Club mark on it, and it actually says life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So I thought that was such a cool touch that they put that engraving there on those tongs, which I'll probably use this, like I said, in my kitchen. So when I'm cooking, I'll just have that little reminder that sometimes it's good to get out of your comfort zone. So great first item, I thought, and then we'll move on to the next one, which let me see if I can flip to that page. I think it was on 108. So it was on 108. So now I believe she is actually already in Antarctica being the curmudgeon that she is. And of course she came with all the appropriate clothing, but also some of the like creature comforts of her home in Scotland. It says, I embark on a hunt for my reading glasses. It's because one of the scientists had to print out an email for her because she doesn't know how to do email. After going through both my ruined scarlet bag and my rather less good but at least unvandalized fuchsia and gold handbag without success, I delve into my suitcase. I discover the tin of fragrant Darjeeling in its depths, but no reading glasses. The tea is some consolation, however. I wander into the kitchen and boil the kettle. By good fortune, a Brown Betty teapot is lurking at the back of one of the cupboards along with a tea strainer. I brew myself a pot. In spite of the tragic lack of teacups and consequent necessity of using a chipped mug, the taste of real tea is a welcome boost. On my first sip, I feel the Macready determination flowing back into my veins. So, of course, she loves her tea. She's actually English, even though she lives in Scotland. And of course, we got this gorgeous tin of tea from Harney and Sons, and it is, of course, Darjeeling. I left it sealed because if you watch any of my other unboxings, you know that I have an abundance of tea because it is such a popular thing to have in subscription boxes. So I definitely chuckled to myself when I opened this up, but this is such a pretty tin that this might be one that I hold on to just because I love to store other like future teas that I get in these tins, and it's just like a nice collection. It does have 20 sachets in there, and I do love when it's actually the sachets that you can use just in a single serving versus having to do the whole loose leaf tea and full teapot thing. So I thought this was a nice touch, and I was glad that it was that and not her fuchsia and gold handbag that was the gift. So let's keep going. I think after page 108 we had a little time to read, to wait, and it was not until page 269. And then on page 269, so now this is towards the end of Veronica's stay in Antarctica, and she's a little worse for wear. She's a little under the weather, so the scientists have finally come around to enjoying her presence, and they take turns reading to her at times just to kind of give her some solace and comfort. So Dietrich is one of the scientists. He's quite nice. We like Dietrich. He says, it says, Dietrich comes to my room fairly often. He doesn't waste time in small talk or ask how I am. He knows I can't answer. Mrs. Macready exclaims in a voice of eagerness, I'm going to read you another chapter from Great Expectations. I'm sure you're going to like it. You should have to imagine that in an Austrian accent because she thinks he's German, but he's not. He clears his throat and starts without further preamble. I am plunged into the story of a young boy full of hopes and dreams. The narration entertains me. It also has me reflecting on youth and how quickly it is eaten up and how we are changed by our experiences. What sort of person would I have been if my own youth had been different? So I don't want to spoil the rest there with the rest of that paragraph. So I was worried because when I read that paragraph, though, I was like, are we going to get a copy of Great Expectations, which I'm pretty sure I actually still have a copy of that, or maybe that was just such a classic that I just did the library with that one. But I loved the box for this because I love penguins. So cute. I kind of wish that sometimes it didn't actually have like the page number printed on the packaging because I would totally reuse this little penguin box for something. But it's so cute, and I do appreciate the time and effort that they put into the packaging. But it was not a copy of Great Expectations, thank goodness. We did get a cute little bookmark though with a penguin which says, you are part of my existence, part of myself. You have been in every line I have ever read. But that is from Charles Dickens. So cute little one, cute little crossover. It's got a penguin. I'm sure if someone saw that they'd be like, why do you have that quote with a penguin? So it is a little journal, which I thought was cute, and I was a little confused. So it says Great Expectations. This is actually printed on here. It's not like a paper band. And then it says Once Upon a Book Club with a little penguin. So out of context, I feel like this is kind of a weird thing. On the side, it actually says Great Expectations. So it's kind of like a secret book. So like I feel like you could put it on your shelf and have all of your secret ideas and thoughts in there and no one would know that it was there. And then on the back it says, we need never be ashamed of our tears. Nice little quote. But it has this good little rubber band kind of closure, And then I was a little bit bummed that it's actually lined, and you can see that it's got those like wide spaced lines. I prefer college ruled or blank, or even better like a graph paper or like the little dots for like bullet journals. But it's nice paper for sure. It doesn't have like the little pocket in the back like a Moleskine does, but that's kind of like the style of it. It's like, it's almost like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like suede, but it's got that like very soft texture to it. I think this like orangey color is fun. I'm not really sure like the point of having it say Great Expectations on it. And I thought that they maybe could have done something else with that, but I appreciate a blank journal. I just wish maybe it just said like, had penguins on the front of it or something, instead of being so specific and saying Great Expectations. But I guess like, you could put your great expectations for life in there if you were using it as a personal journal, but then it also says Charles Dickens on it. So it's very confusing to me how that was like designed and chosen, but still cute, still functional. I'd rather have that than like a paper gift like the journals that some of the story is told from. All right, and then we have one more gift, and that didn't come until almost the last page. It was on page 321. And this is an item that we hear about throughout the novel, so I was waiting and I figured it had to make an appearance in gift form. It says, I touch my locket as it hangs there under my many layers of clothes, the metal smooth against my skin. It is tightly packed now. In addition to the 4 strands that were there before, there are 2 new specimens of hair, plus a tiny tuft of fluff from a penguin. So she's got lots of stuff in there now. And of course, I thought that this locket had to appear. I won't tell you who the other strands of hair belong to. I actually had to kind of like question who the 2 new strands of hair belong to, but I think I figured it out. It came in this cute little box. And then inside, of course, I'll pull this out after, we have a little quote from the book. It says, I touch my locket, and it's that same quote that I just read to you. And then we of course got the locket. So it came on this nice silver chain, and I'll show you, this is the front part, and it's just got a V for Veronica. It actually belonged to her mother before, whose name also started with a V. And then on the back, this is the part I didn't like so much. So I think that image inside is supposed to be the locks of hair, but I was not super fond of the rhinestones going around the edge of that because I feel like it really cheapens the look of the locket. But of course you could wear it with that side facing out for sure. It's pretty big, if you can tell on my hand, for a locket. And then it opens up. It feels like it actually has like a magnetic closure instead of like a snap, which is nice. And then you can kind of see right here that they just put the little pieces of paper in there. So it's actually clear on the outsides, which I think you could do something really cool with. Like you could actually put like pressed flowers in there. It doesn't have to be like images that face in, because you'd actually want something to be facing outwards on display. So it's almost like a little display case locket, which I thought was really ingenious and cool. I just wish that it was plain silver on the back instead of the sparklies. But I thought this was a nice item. I love that they actually put it on a chain for us so that you can use it right away. I have to figure out what I want to put in there. I think it could almost be cool to put like, I thought about like sand, but that would like fall out if you tried to open it, but maybe like locks of hair like she did would be sweet, or maybe like a 4-leaf clover if you're lucky enough to find one of those. But I thought this was a really good selection. It's not like my favorite assortment of gifts, but I did appreciate that there weren't any paper gifts. I thought it was another sweet novel. Not like my favorite selection, but certainly another great read. Let me know what you thought about this particular box. Definitely check out Once Upon a Book Club. If you appreciated this review, please do give me a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out, and hopefully I'll see you all very, very soon in my next unboxing.